There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me right before Christmas for the Inventors Roundtable, our call-in version of Invent America. It's nice to see all of you, and I will continue to let people in as they start to join us. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
It's wonderful to see everyone. You know, there's on our side of it, there is a ton of things going on. And we're still we've got one more radio recording that will be done on Monday for this year. And then we are going out on the second Monday, since the first one is, you know, New Year's Day. And so if anybody hasn't been on the radio yet and you want to be, shoot me an email, rita@inventorlady.com, and we can fit most people into the topics. And we're just always grateful to have you guys, you know, willing to be on the radio to talk about a bunch of different topics that we have. We're doing an easy one tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but I'm sending it out, recording on Monday. We're talking about all the junk mail you get when you've received your patent, or once it's made public. So, you know, fun topic. Everybody gets junk mail this time of year. And then after the first, we'll be a lot more serious, talking about, you know, watching how to extend your patent life. Because I get people say, well, can I just, you know, extend the life? It's like, no, you can't. You've got to have a reason to. Talking about different industries. David, you're on the list for that one, about different industries, how you learn. You've got one for like the bike industry, but next thing you know, you're in trucking. One of a gentleman that I had spoken to talked about his intellectual property, and we'll have him on the radio too. He's been inventing for decades, works for the aerospace industry, and they pay him huge royalties for his knowledge. But he invented the airplane to airplane refueling technology. So
interesting.
Wow.
Heard about that. But somebody, you know, when he was in the process, said, you know, you might want to rethink the way you're filing this and make it non-industry specific. And that's one of the things that we've always said, is that a good patent is not industry specific. And now his technology is being used in outer space to refuel or to move liquids from one space station to another. And he goes, I would never have figured that if I had not had someone tell me years ago, don't get yourself in the niche of one industry. Look at your technology for being the valuable technology it is. So, you know, just some of the things that we, you know, try to look at and talk about on the radio show. So there's a few of you here that are new, that have not been here before. We certainly would like to have you introduce yourselves, kind of tell us what you're working on. So Jenny, you're kind of first on the list. Introduce yourself, tell us what you've got and what you're working on.
Thank you for having me. I just got patent pending for a fashion accessory that I invented. More specifically, Dave, you can tune out on this, but it's a bra strap aligner. And well, you know, you might know some women. It was made for fuller chested figures who still want to wear those cute tank tops and dresses, but still need the support of a bra, but you don't want to have your bra strap showing. So it's an easy, let me see, I have one right here. Let me see.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so you filed and you're ready to go to market.
I'm ready to go to market. I have my shipment in storage. And so I've been working on this project for years. This is version B. And so instead of kind of creating the contacts beforehand, I was so paranoid to do that because of the experience I had before. So until I got the shipment and felt it and saw it with my own eyes that it was perfect, that I kind of put a hold to everything. So now I have to get out there and network and figure out how to sell the dang thing. I don't have a huge social media presence and didn't realize it was so hard to get in contact with the buyers at retailers. So it's a whole learning curve for me, but I'm up for the challenge. It's been fun.
Good for you. Well, one of the things you might want to consider doing is joining us at ASD Market Week.
Okay.
It is in March.
Okay.
It starts March 10th, opens up March 10th. It's a huge show, and one of their big categories is fashion.
Perfect.
Now
we've
got 800 square feet in the general merchandise section.
Okay.
So David, you're still not off the hook. I am, holding you in there. But they've got it's 3 floors, and
Oh.
one floor is dedicated to fashion.
Oh, I love it.
As an exhibitor, you could go out and walk that floor and show your product.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to get more details.
Shoot me over an email. I'll send you
Okay.
the details tomorrow. All
Okay.
right?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Martina, you have not been here before. Introduce yourself. And you're on mute, by the way.
Oh, looks like she's frozen.
Yep, she's frozen. All right. Lee, go ahead while we figure out why Martina's frozen. Lee Campbell, go ahead and introduce yourself. And you're muted as well, so unmute your computer. There you go. Lee, you look an awful lot like Russell.
Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, my name is Lee, and I am trying to, how would I put this? I've got an idea on how to advance the hardware that's needed to sustain blockchain technology. And I mostly need to visit with an electrical engineer and see if when we're done with the math that they could help me do, it turns out to be what I think it will be.
All right, so you're looking for an electrical engineer.
Yeah, yeah, electrical engineer that is willing to be a founder, because I don't have capital to pay an electrical engineer, and I want somebody who believes in what I'm doing.
All right. All of the electrical engineers I know are, they're part of that prototyping team. So they send an invoice. Trying to find somebody that's going to be more of the investor is really, really difficult. Do you have proof of concept prototype, or that's what you're working on?
No, like I've had this idea, and I've been trying to learn what I can about the electrical engineering aspect of it. And everything I've learned so far makes me more confident that it'll work. But so I need to, I was thinking of trying to find somebody that's in the process of their education instead of like already in the business of being an electrical engineer, so that I could be like, pose this problem, and then they could almost like figure it out as they're also doing the school.
Okay, where do you live?
Utah, Salt Lake.
You're in the Salt Lake area. All right. One of the things that you might do, and I know that Salt Lake has got a couple of different maker spaces.
I don't know what that is.
A maker space, if you Google maker space, all right, Salt Lake City, you'll probably get a few of them that come up. And a maker space is where, kind of not necessarily beginners go, but, crafty type of, hobby type of people, but they will have a lot of the machinery. They will have different people who go, and it's certainly a place to go and ask. There's a lot of real maker spaces in the country, and especially if you're near a metropolitan area, where you may find somebody, even a team, that's willing to help you out.
Okay, yeah, I looked it up on my search engine, so I'll do that. I also made a flyer, and I was gonna go put it in the engineering departments of all of the schools, universities, colleges, and such around, and pretty much just saying, hey, if you're interested in this topic, come
Now,
see if you want
you don't
to
want to do
figure out
that.
a way to do this. Why is that?
No, you don't want to do that. This is the way you do it: is pick your school, go in and talk to a professor or the lead engineer, that maybe the head of the engineering department. Pick and choose carefully. Different schools have different policies on how to deal with that. Have you filed a provisional patent application?
No, I haven't. I mean, I don't have enough materialized to really, I think, go for a patent yet.
You sound like you can go for a provisional. If you know that you're down to fine tuning the electronics, a provisional is not going to be that specific. Have you done a comprehensive search yet?
What, I don't know what you mean by that. Like, see if someone else is already doing it?
Right. A comprehensive search does, the US, the international, and products. And a lot of times, if you're able to get back the comprehensive search and look at it, It teaches you a lot about different ways of doing what you're trying to do. Some of it might be currently covered under a patent. Some of it may have expired, so you can use it without, you can't claim it, but you can use it free of charge. But then it also shows you other things that have been tried, and maybe your technology has caught it up now to where it can be made. But you learn a lot from knowing what else is out there. One, should you even go any further and look for somebody in the engineering department? And two, you know, what are the different things that you can do that may help you get to the next phase. So when you walk in and say, okay, I had a search done, and these are the things that give me the most concern, and you show them, it's like, this is in my ballpark, but my idea is better because a comprehensive search is $500, and it can teach you what you would spend thousands making a mistake on. And so if you go and then show the engineer, it's like, this is what my idea is, but my improvements are. Well, now they're looking at something. They don't have to try to read your mind. And it's, you know, that issue, you know, especially when we run into prototypes where you think, you know, the guy should be able to read your mind. It doesn't happen that way. So if you get the search done, all right, and you go through it, now, you know, you can take a look and say, oh my God, this has been done 10 different ways and nobody's made it to market. Well, the next question is why? All right. And if they did make it to market in another country, you're toast. Don't go there. So now you've saved yourself a lot of heartache by learning. All right.
Okay.
And you know, that's what you start with. Every first step is the search. And it's not the search that you can do. It's what another set of eyes can do, looking internationally, because if it's been done anywhere in the world, you're not granted a US patent. And that's straightforward. All right. Okay. Most of the time, what I see is that other things have been done that are in the ballpark, and yours is better or different because. And that's the conversation you would have with the engineer, and especially the electrical engineer, when you go in and talk to him and say, all right, we found these things, start with this and make these improvements. And then they can tell you whether or not they can do it.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want some information about getting the search done, the comprehensive search for $500, shoot me an email.
Okay.
Okay.
Is your email?
Rita@inventorlady.com. Really easy.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Martina, are you off? Are you off mute? Yeah. We can see you moving. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, wow. Like I had no idea what I was coming into. I live in Vancouver in Canada. Is everyone here from US?
Tonight, yes. Not always.
Jenny and Russell are from Canada? Oh.
No, US.
US, everyone. All right. I just have an idea, and I know that I need to start somewhere. So, and from time to time, I would listen to some YouTube, whatever videos. I don't know what is it called, but from what I've understood, in US and Canada, things are different. It seems like in US, people usually go with licensing. I don't know if that thing exists in Canada at all.
Oh, you betcha it does, because I've got Canadian clients who are looking for licensing. So yes, it does.
Oh, okay, good. Well, that's already a great. But did you want me, like, I mean, I don't have a pitch ready.
No. That's okay. We just like to have you introduce yourself, kind of tell us, you know, where you're at in the process and how we can help. So, you know, you've got an idea. Again, your first step is getting the search done. You know, shoot me over an email. Lee, the same thing for you. I'm happy to sign a non-disclosure, non-compete. And all you have to do then is, you know, fill out the form, and the search gets done and sent back to you. So the search that would be done is going to apply to much as you, Martina, in Canada, as it does to Lee here in the US.
Okay, that is wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And I just wanted to say it's my first time. I didn't know what to expect, but I do have to leave at 10 to 6. So if I just leave, I will be coming back because I'm happy that I can learn from people. Yeah.
Glad to have you with us. Russell, you have a question. Hi, Russell. How are you? Take yourself off mute.
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Well, I just want to mention to Martina, if you're just starting and you want to describe your idea, learn about what it means to give a non-confidential description of your invention. So you're not giving away the details, but you're pitching the general concept. And that can get people excited about it, and it can help them understand at least what you're up to without revealing the details.
Okay, let me give you an example. Very good, Russell. All right, so an example of that, and it certainly applies to anybody who's in that early stage mode, but doesn't necessarily have any intellectual property filed, so you can't say you're patent pending yet. And you don't want to have to chase a non-disclosure every time you talk about your product. So what you want to be able to do is, the example would be, it's like, I've invented a new way to hit a ball in baseball, and the bat will hit the ball every single time. But you didn't tell him the intellectual property that was in the bat that makes it hit the ball every time. You've just told him it's a new way of pitching. Another example, I've got some clients now that are working on their patent and say, I've got a way to stack ice cubes in a bucket and fill the ice, and it doesn't drain all over your fridge. Well, it still gives you the industry, still gives you the ballpark idea of what's going on without giving any enabling disclosure. And it's the enabling disclosure that an inventor can give away that allows someone to say, well, you've already told me. So when you think about that, it's like, I can talk about the industry. I can talk about, it's a new way of, I have another gentleman, he has patent pending, but he said, I've got a new way for men to shave the back of their neck without needing a mirror. Well, okay, now you've got a really good idea of what it is without telling people what it is. Okay. All right. All right. So now I'd like to know, kind of where everybody is and what you're working on. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. So Randy, are you there? And you can tell us kind of where you're at.
I am here. Yes. Well, I've been patent pending for a while, and I've been working on a prototype, and I am expecting my first prototype next week. So I'm very excited about that, just in time to go to the show in March. And so, I'm assuming that this is the first edition of my prototype. I don't know what it will look like, even though I've given a description to the engineers and told them, what I was looking for. I think we're going to be going back and forth a little bit from what I understand, but I'm excited to at least be receiving the first one now. So we can make progress. But it's been a great experience for me doing this. I'm really excited to get my prototype. And I wanted to mention to Lee about the search, because I made a mistake and didn't do a comprehensive search. And when I did the search, things came up, and I had to pivot my idea, but I'm still moving forward with it. But I just wanted to stress how valuable that is.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks, Randy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you get that first prototype so that you can, see how it's going. And that was one of the things that, we've got 2 different radio shows, one talking about that early stage, of prototypes. It can be, duct tape, cardboard, Legos, or whatever. And then how it goes through the different phases of it till you finally get to the manufacturer's prototype. And, there can be several steps in there. And, when you're dealing with somebody that's, in a different town, different state, different country or whatever, they cannot read your mind. There is no crystal ball. So it's stages that you go through so that they can actually get it right for you. Then before you have the mold made, we had a lady that had a really cool baby teether. She sold it all over the world. But her first time out the door, that it was, a decade ago, before they had a lot of the rapid prototype technology, and she had a mold made, and that mold was 1/4 of an inch off of industry standards for a baby teether, and she had to pay to have another mold made. And just what a rapid prototype can do for industry standards these days is wonderful. And it gives you a chance that, before a mold is made or tooling is purchased, to test, what they do and say, no, make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit, different. And, those are a good thing, really good exercises to go through. So, Andrea, how about you? Where are you at?
Excuse me. So I'm in final stages. I'm still waiting for acknowledgement of final patent, international and domestic full patent. So waiting on that, and then just waiting to get a quote on the prototype that will be made. I'm hoping tomorrow I'll hear on that. So I'll get with you the following week on other things to go over. So that's where I am, just sort of in wait mode, getting excited.
I know. Excellent, excellent. David, all right. You have gone through from starting at one industry. You're my classic example of how you move, from the starting industry to like a whole bunch of industries. So you started out with bikes and now you're into like big trucks.
Yep. Yeah, I actually invented it's a lubrication applicator for lubricating chains and metal cables and wire ropes. And it started out as a bicycle chain lubricator. And from there, it turned into a cable lubricator, and then into the wire ropes, which is what they use in the cranes. And on the cranes, not as much, because those are there's special equipment for lubricating those. But for like the tow truck drivers, all the tow truck cables and cables that you would see in the fishing industry, things like that. So it opened up, and the first prototype that I made. I said on the show, I don't have enough fingers and toes to count the number of prototypes that I've gone through to finally get to the stage that I'm at right now. We do have the provisional patent filed. We're all set on that. I just finished the website, Rita, and I wanted to talk to you because I do have another improvement, another version of that, and I'm stuck at this point, but I am ready to go with what we have. So I have developed a website, and I've got the sell sheet and everything all ready for that. I've been on LinkedIn. I've made contacts on LinkedIn with people in the lubrication industry and then the chain industry and things like that. So I'm just starting to build up that list of people. And that's something all of you, if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn, create a profile, start getting involved in there, and just start making connections, because it takes a long time to get the connections made. Sometimes you'll ask for a connection to somebody, and it might take them 3 weeks to get back to you and finally connect with you. Yeah. So start way ahead of time, way before you think you're going to need it, and that way when it's time to go, you'll have all those people in your funnel all set to go.
Let me give you guys a secret when you're doing the LinkedIn thing. If you link to me, all right, it gives you access to everyone else who is linked to me. So when you're going out there and you say, okay, this guy's kind of competitor, but he's selling a similar product. If you link to him or her, all right, it gives you access to go and find out who he's connected to. And that can be a valuable asset that a lot of people don't know. We've learned, and that's one of the things that we used is to go out there and connect. It's like, all right, this guy's my competition, but let's see who he's connected to. And then you can reach out to all those connections and draw them into yours. So LinkedIn is a valuable tool. We use it when we're going out after licensing deals to connect to executives, not, the guys that are out on the, the storefront lines, but the executives, the CEOs, marketing managers, the VPs of manufacturing and all of that. So, LinkedIn is something that we suggest you use so that when, if we're your licensing representative, that we then link to everybody you've linked to. So by all means, have at it. Go through there. We've got about 4,500 connections, in a variety of different industries. So join us by all means. Benjamin, this is the first time you've been here. Are you on with us? Benjamin? All right, I'll watch for you to get on there. I see your name is being here. I just wanted to check. Gee, what have you been up to? It's good to see you, and so fill us in.
So I'm designing a mechanical device that helps women apply makeup, and it's been a long journey. I think the last time I spoke to everyone, I was waiting for my version 1 of the prototype. I really want to call it proof of concept. So right now I'm waiting for my version 2. And this is something to share with the group. I'm using the 3D printing company called Xometry. And I'm going to end up having to use Protolab, which is a much bigger company, for a certain portion of the product, because Xometry doesn't have all the materials that I need. And the other thing is that I'm one of the components of the product I'm using, hopefully, it's not off the shelf, but it is a company in China, and they customize a product that they already have. You can customize it to whatever you want. But just so that you know, dealing with China, in terms of language barrier, some are really good. Some consultants are just amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe they actually live in China. But some are very difficult to communicate with. And what I'm finding is that the mail, it's so slow. Anything you order from China, just expect minimum 20 days. I mean, even for something that's like, just a tiny little part, it just gets hung up. I think it gets hung up on custom, because it gets here pretty quickly, but then it just sits at the post office for like another week. And so if you're dealing with China, just expect minimum 20 days. And so that's where I'm at right now. I have a lot of dishes flying in the air. It's very exciting. But I like you, Dave, I'm assuming that this is version 2 of many.
Yeah.
And so, but each time, it is exciting. Each little version, there's improvements, and over time, hopefully, I'll have more information for you.
Once you start getting feedback from everybody, that's when it starts changing.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. My first prototype, my first concept of my whole product was a disposable chain lubricator. So if you're going to lubricate your chain on your bike, you lubricate the chain and you throw it away. And then everybody told me they're very ecology conscious, and nobody really wanted to throw it away. They all wanted something more permanent. So that
Was
made
this
me.
from friends and family, or where were you getting
No, not
feedback?
necessarily. No, I actually went to bicycle mechanics and I gave out prototypes that I had made to the bike mechanics to get feedback from them. They liked the idea of it. They liked the way it worked, but they said, we want something that's going to last longer. So I ended up changing the material to something that was stronger and longer lasting. So just that one thing alone, caused a whole chain reaction of me having to go out and find new materials and change the prototype around a little bit. So yeah, as you get feedback, that'll change. And,
Okay.
Well, and the other thing is, like, one of the things I recommend is that when possible, use the company that's got their feet on the ground here in the US, and they deal with the Chinese company rather than you dealing directly with the Chinese company, simply because, one, they know the language, they know what they're looking for, they know what needs to be done. And then you've got feet on the ground here in the US you can hold accountable. If you're going to China and you have, a falling out with the company, you've got nobody to hold accountable. Russell has gone to ITI. They're out of Texas. We've had folks going to Kicker Design. The Product Quick Start is another one that they do. When we look at the prototyping part of it, we look at the duct tape cardboard version, and guys were laughing when I said, well, how many different versions of prototypes did you have? And it's like, oh well, I've got a museum full of my different versions of prototypes. And so when you're going through the phases to finally come to one that is your kitchen top version, all right, then you go maybe to the guys that do the like Scott Tarsi, who does now the 3D printing version of it. But once you're done with that and you've got the proof of concept, like you said, the proof of concept prototype, there's a whole nother generation of prototypes that get done now with the manufacturing engineers, because now you need the manufacturing prototypes. The ones that are made, for proof of concept are not necessarily the ones that are made for manufacturing. And so when you've got somebody who's got feet on the ground here in the US, one, communications are a lot easier. Two, you've got somebody that you can hold accountable for whatever you get in the mail finally, as opposed to, dealing directly with, somebody that's in a foreign country. And, it's like we're dealing with Daniel now. He's one of our other Canadian inventors, and we're working on licensing his product. He wants to manufacture in Romania. but he has the option of going and flying over there and spending several weeks in Romania to look at the manufacturing facility. Not everybody has that option. You know,
What I'm also learning is that if you do get some molds made, let's say you do go to Romania and they make your molds, the molds are yours, right? So when you leave, you can take them. However, let's say you want to now manufacture in the US or China or wherever, that mold does not, it's not a universal mold. And
sometimes
so
it's not. You've got to be really careful. If you're
a lot of the times,
mold, I've had a lot of people order the mold in China and have it shipped to the US. But you're exactly right. You got to be really, really careful of measurements. And that's why having somebody with feet on the ground in the US and say, okay, I want my mold made there and shipped here, but this is what I need it to do, so that they're able then to, you know, to go through and look at the fine tuning of the measurements. That's the big thing that gets us. Most of the world works in, you know, millimeters and centimeters and, you know, just the meter board, as opposed to, you know, inches, feet, and yards. So that's something that not all, you know, not everybody gets until they kind of, you know, get buried by it. But, you know, if you're dealing with a feet on the ground here in the US, they understand the translation and what you have to do.
If you have a mold made in China, and I guess this goes for anywhere in the world, make sure that you end up getting the mold sent to you. Don't let them hold it at the factory, because I've heard stories where, you know, you paid for a mold, you had the factory hold the mold for you, and then they actually started making your parts for somebody else using your mold. And so make sure you get it in your hands, and so that way you know nobody's copying it.
Right. Right. So there's a lot of things to be aware of. Russell, you got your hand up. Oh, Russell, you need to just jump in, honey, because we're not like a classroom where you raise your hand. I'll never see it.
Well, yeah, just that a question about that. Well, in my case, it's tooling with ITI, and you know they'd like to continue manufacturing it, but if a company licenses it, they may want the tooling, and then, I mean, they would be obliged to send it. Is that correct?
Yes. And ITI knows me. Whether I'm sending you to ITI, you know, Kicker Design, or, you know, Product Quick Start, they all know the idea that my inventors are looking for licensing. And so they're going to want to buy molds. They're going to want to buy, you know, any tooling if they can. It depends on the life expectancy of a mold, or the tooling. But that belongs to you because you paid for it.
Yeah, and then it's different using tooling than it is injection molding. So that, and there's an email that Jeff sent me and they described how many parts that each set of tooling will last, and so that I'll see if I can forward that, just so you have it, just in case when you start talking to these, you know, potential licensees, because it's different than molding, and to let people know it's another option.
Yeah, no, they know that. They know that it's okay. They know that. If they're looking at a product and they know it's going to be tooling instead of molding, their heads are already clicking. Okay. So, anybody else have a question for us tonight?
I have a question for Jenny. Is she still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hi. So your product is ready to go, right? Where did you do your manufacturing and as well as packaging?
Yeah, so I have had some luck, I guess you call it, in the last year, where I was put in touch with people who had contacts. And so, for instance, it's a father and son, and I'm more than happy to do an introduction. But the father and son here in the U.S., they are the middleman to a lot of products being manufactured in China. So the manufacturer does not want to ruin any sort of relationship with the father and son company. And so they held my hand the entire way. They did everything they were going to say. They were as quick as, you know, they were quick compared to, you know, what you hear horror stories. And then when I did place my final order, it came to my doorstep. I didn't have to worry about freight forwarding. I didn't have to worry about any of that. And the price was really good too. So I had a really great experience with this company, this China manufacturer. I'm not sure what they specialize in, but I'm sure they can get their hands on anything. So again, if you want to.
So does the son and father, do they charge you like a fee for consulting?
No, they're wanting to get me in places like Walmart and some big box retailers, so they're going to take a cut of
Oh,
that. So
okay.
what they were telling me is they believed in my product so much that they kind of helped me guide with the manufacturer and stay in contact. They were always CC'd on every email, which you wouldn't want them to do that. You wouldn't need them to do that, but they held my hand the entire way just to make sure it was delivered, because they see dollar signs over
Right.
here too. So it's
Yeah.
a unique situation, but I'm happy to introduce you.
That would be great. I enjoy, I enjoy having contact information for different service providers. So that, sometimes we get them on the radio and talk about what they do. And then other times it's just a matter of being able to forward the information to them, when we've got somebody who says, okay, I need these services. And, there's been times when I've had good reviews on that kind of relationship. And then there's times when it's been horror stories on that kind of relationship. So, it's just it's a learning curve. Everybody has,
Yeah.
the learning curve that goes with it. And so that's kind of what we look at. But you don't know until you try, like I said,
Exactly.
you've got a good relationship with them. And if they can get you in, the issue with the big box stores, all right, to be aware of.
Yeah.
All right. When
Yeah.
you've got, one product, right, they can eat you alive. It's one thing that this contact gives you an introduction. It's a whole other thing than dealing with them on a one product level. They could sell 50,000 units for you and send you an invoice instead of a check. And their turnaround time, because these big box stores are consignment shops, basically, they don't pay for the order. They pay you after it's sold.
Okay.
And
Would you have to ever do buyback? Meaning if they don't sell it, you'd have to.
Oh, you don't buy it back. They ship it back
Okay.
because they haven't paid for it yet.
Okay.
It's
Gotcha.
truly a consignment shop.
Interesting.
Home Depot is notorious for that. Walmart, especially when you're, an inventor with one product.
Mm-hmm.
And if your SKU is in the wrong, they know how to play the game. All right. Your SKU was in the wrong spot. So then they charge you for it. The shipment was delivered this way instead of that way. And then they charge you for it. So you literally, and if they say, sometimes the conversation, Costco is horrible at this. Say, well, we're interested. What is your price point for 2,500 units? And so the inventor tells them, and they go, well, we're really interested in having maybe 5,000 units. What's your price point for that? Well, then they expect you to negotiate down. And then they come back and say, we want 500 units, but they expect the same price.
Interesting.
It is none of their business what your costs are. Your retail price is your retail price. You always build in a cushion.
Okay.
And when they say, what are your costs? And you say, that is proprietary information.
Yeah.
Really?
So you should almost have your pricing ready. So if they ask what's 2,500 units, know what your price would be at 500 units. So that way 500.
You've got it.
5,
when you look at the multiple of 5,
okay.
All right, everything, in the retail world is based on the multiple of 5. There's some squeaky room, but they could actually put multiple of 5 on Mount Rushmore. When a buyer is looking at you, they're calculating in their head, this is a consumer retail product at $10. All right, they're going to end up buying it from you for $2.50 because the store bought it from them for $5 and they buy it from you for half of that at $2.50. So you've got to be able to make something that should sell at $10 retail for $2.
Mm-hmm.
You make 50 cents per unit. And with that 50 cents, you have to do all your marketing, pay all your service providers, do everything, your insurance, everything has got to come out of that 50 cents. Well, when you're dealing with a retailer now like Walmart, and they pay you upfront for it, and they could actually send you an invoice after selling a whole bunch of product, you can be bankrupt in 90 days.
Wow.
All right.
Well, that's scary. So do you recommend just doing things like fulfilled by Walmart or fulfilled by Amazon just to get a little bit of traction?
Look at Etsy.
Okay.
All right. Etsy is more user-friendly to an inventor.
Okay.
All right. If you've got the bandwidth and you want to do Amazon, Amazon is better than Walmart.
Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
When you license your product, all right. So let's say you get to the point where I've got a gentleman that we're going to do a licensing agreement, and he's been selling in a lot of retail places and Amazon and everything, but he goes, you know what? I do not have the bandwidth to do all of this. Now, The company that licenses it, most of the time they already own the shelf space in those big box stores. They already know what they're doing with them.
Mhm.
And they pay you a royalty check every 30 days, every 90 days, once, every quarter, no matter what their relationship is with Walmart. But they have no relationships with the Walmart, the Targets, and every place, all the other stores. So when you hit the right licensee, they're already, connected to all of the chain stores, the big box stores, and they know how to deal with them. You're not doing so. Where you've got inventory and you're able to go out and get some sales, it's great if you're able to get into maybe some local stores. But just really watch your back when it comes to dealing with those big chains.
Gotcha.
They will.
That's good to
You
know.
alive.
Yeah. Okay.
Andrea?
Rita, so just for clarification, the differences here that we're speaking about sounds like if you're going to pursue control of your own product and selling it and making it, and as opposed to having a license agreement and letting all the manufacturer do all the marketing and selling and you just take the checks. Am I reading that right?
Yeah. You're in the right ballpark. You're looking at startup versus licensing. A startup is the one where they control it. They find the salesman, they sell their product, they do all the manufacturing, they do everything, and the bottom line hits them as far as profits go. When you license it, somebody else is doing the heavy lifting. They fight the patent infringement. They pay for the product liability insurance, which, by the way, Jenny, would come out of your 50 cents. That you're making. So when you look at licensing now, that licensee does the heavy lifting. They're going to do the manufacturing. They're going to do the marketing and the selling. Marketing is a story they create. The selling is the actual, putting it on the shelf. And then they cover those big other elements of the product liability and the infringement, because they put $500,000 or more into getting the product out there. But they've got the deals then with the big box stores, and they know how to deal with them.
So it's a little bit more limited in the inventor having input into what the manufacturer will do with that product.
Licensing,
more limited.
I'm just using that word because you can hire a manufacturer. Jenny's got a manufacturer. All right. But they're sending her, a shipment and an invoice. The licensee sends you a check.
Right. I guess that's
Could be the same company doing it, possibly, but generally, no. A good licensee is going out and hiring out the manufacturing, just like you would be doing.
Oh,
okay. All right. So when you're looking at, it's like, ITI that Russell is using, they don't license. Kicker Design doesn't license. They make the product for a variety of suppliers that supply to the different big box stores.
Well, that was going to bring to mind the other question, which is, can you have more than one instead of one licensee or one
licensee? They generally want it exclusive because they're putting all the money into it and they're fighting the infringement. Okay. Now, within that realm, let's say you've got a product like the one lady, they've got a product that would be in the fishing world, but my sense is that they could be in the construction world, in the forest, rehabilitation world, and several others. So don't limit yourself, but she could end up licensing it to a company that only sells to the fishing industry, and we would end up licensing it then to somebody else that does with some of the others.
Yes, but second use for the product.
No, we're focused on this part of, the market. We give you, the rights to go ahead and go and deal with that. But you always give your first licensee then that right of refusal and say, no, this is where we're at. There are some times when it's the same product basically, but they only sell to one area and you buy it back or find another distributor for a different industry. Okay. But that's all something that, you start with one and you work from there. They're all about the numbers. If they can make it and then you find, a distributor for another industry, they're all about the numbers. Okay. They're not going to say no unless it's, changing the sizing and it's just not in their sweet spot. And they say, no, go ahead and find, maybe somebody in Europe to make your product, or, somebody in, a different industry that's going to do it and carry it there. But those are kind of step-by-step issues.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. David, you're on mute. I can see your mouth moving, but you're on mute.
Sorry, there we are. I had a question for Jenny. Did you say that you were patented already?
Patent pending.
Patent pending. Okay.
Mhm.
Talk to Rita about when you do get your non-provisional patent to make sure that you get the international patent, and
Okay.
make sure it includes China, because if you go on Amazon or I don't know about Etsy, but I know Amazon and probably Walmart, you'll get knocked off really quick. And if you don't have that Chinese patent, you'll get knocked off.
Oh,
You won't
that's
be
right.
able to do anything about it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're dealing with an attorney that says, oh, it's going to be $50,000 to file in China. Nope, find a different attorney, because it's not even close. But they know at that point your billable time.
Well,
So,
and that's where I got lucky too, is I have a family friend who's patent attorney, so he's helping me for free so far, but he's gonna not steer me wrong, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
All right,
charge
good.
me what it's worth. Real quick question for you, Rita. So you're kind of scaring me as far as selling to big box retailers, which I kind of knew that could be the case anyway. And the Walmart thing, I am on their website as of like 2 days ago to sell. But,
for you.
again,
That's smart.
it sounds
Yeah.
like I have to be careful. I'm this close to being on Amazon, which is just so hard to figure out their system.
Yes, it
I
is.
almost want to give up. I'll do Etsy, but do you feel like at someone at my stage, since I already have the inventory, I'm in negotiations with a company who is like a marketing company. They'll help with building your brand on TikTok and Instagram, things that I don't really have time to do because I also have a daytime job. But they are, it just seems like that might be the avenue that I should try to push first. Is I fulfill it. Well, I would use ShipBob or a company like that to just do the fulfillment, but I sell it myself rather than working with a retailer.
Don't work with a marketing company. Your billable time.
No.
They've got no accountability. They're going to send you a gigantic invoice that is not going to be in the 50-cent margin of your product.
Well, they're saying they want to do profit there. So, that's scary too.
Yes, it is. It really is. Marketing companies are notorious for taking advantage of you.
Okay.
All right. Look at, what you can do on Amazon. We've sold product on Amazon. I've had a lot of inventors that have been on Amazon, certainly in their early days. And that's why I've, heard that Etsy is much more user-friendly. One of the things that, as you're building your network, all right, I've got a gentleman who does all of my social media. You might want to talk to him and get out there on social media. Build your network on social media. Then you might want, once you've got inventory and you know exactly what your price is and you've started building your network, do a crowdfunding campaign. All right. The marketing expense is a fraction. Go to the trade show with us in March. When you look at cost of marketing, all right, a trade show is the least expensive cost of marketing there is. You can talk to more people in 3 or 4 days than you can talk to in 6 months. You can find store owners who want to carry your product. There is this show is 3 floors. All right. Last year we went to the National Hardware Show. There were 8,000 attendees. The last ASD Market Week, there were 30,000 attendees. It's a 3-floor show, and it is not open to the consumer. These are all professionals that are at the show. All right. So they're buyers, they're store owners. There is a whole section on fashion. You can go over there and talk to the people that are selling similar products. You can talk because you'll be an exhibitor. You can talk to them about, their product. You can show your product. You can get contact information. We do all kinds of advertising online ahead of time. And so when you start with that, then if you decided, okay, I've got these contacts now, we've been getting some good visibility. Mike Green is the gentleman that has been doing our social media. When we used to go to the National Hardware Show, people said, well, I Googled National Hardware Show and Inventor Lady is the only thing that came up. That's because he used to work.
That's awesome.
He knew exactly what to do. But the ASD Market Week is the same type of thing. And they're actually going to be advertising on the Invent America radio show with us in January. So when you look at, the different things that are money sensible, all right, you go to a trade show. That's the best use of money. Hire Mike to help build your network, right? And then the possibility, because he can build your network, he he finds out what you're doing and then he does it. That's one of those valuable things, is that I hired other social media people and they'd say, oh, you should do this, and oh, you should do this, and try this, and maybe, and then they would send me this huge invoice. No, Mike doesn't.
And he'd actually post for you
Yes.
and make videos, and
Yes.
I could send him product and he can help with little snippet commercials.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
All right, so he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And so, you do that. And then if you get to the point now you've gotten, you've built your network, you could do a crowdfunding campaign. And that is still going to cost you a heck of a lot less. It takes a while to build your network so that when you launch it, people are ready to buy, but it's still a lot less than any single invoice you're going to get from them.
Can you explain what my goal would be to do for the crowdfunding? I don't really understand what that is.
Well, you've got inventory. So when, people do a crowdfunding campaign to raise money,
Okay.
that's the wrong reason to do a crowdfunding campaign, because they're expensive. But when you look at hiring a marketing team, they're a lot less expensive than hiring a marketing team. They're still more, and they take more time than doing a trade show. But if you do the trade show and you hire Mike to do your social media and build your network, now when you go out, and we'll help you on the radio show as well to build your network. So then when you go out, all right, and you do the crowdfunding campaign, people are looking for you. And now you're selling product. And now you can sell some inventory. A crowdfunding campaign is just for selling inventory. Fixed cost,
Okay.
you know
Didn't
exactly
know
what
that.
you're doing. You've got the inventory ready to do. I've seen people say, well, I'm going to raise the money to do this, and they're bankrupt in a week.
Oh gosh.
Because they raised $500,000 and they didn't have fixed cost. And the cost went up in the time it took to do the crowdfunding campaign. It can be very valuable, and it can be just a killer. It really depends on understanding what the goals are. The goals are to sell existing inventory and to make a name for yourself.
Through crowdfunding. That's interesting. I'm going to have to look that up.
Kickstarter. Go to Kickstarter.
Okay.
All right. But you're in a good spot. We've had inventors that have gone on to Kickstarter. They've done a good campaign. They've already had their costs, because they've got inventory. You know exactly what your costs are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you price it then on the platform, there's no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
You put in the amount for the shipping and you say, all right, this is what it is. And you go out there to sell the product. You've got your network made so that when you launch the campaign, you know that within 48 hours, you're going to hit your mark.
And then do you have a dropshipping company you recommend? I keep hearing ShipBob.
There's a couple of different ones I know. Shoot me an email and I'll give you their contact information.
Okay.
Okay.
So Rita, how can Mike help me, and which invention would you think he would be best to help me with?
TrueView. That's the one that you're out there with. That's the one that you're having manufactured. He'll be at the show. Are you gonna be able to join us at all for the show?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm just trying to get this deal done with ITI, and Jeff is needing to get the final quotes on printing the UPC code and the he wanted to know if the individual boxes should be able to ship separately, just one item, and I thought that they should.
Yes.
And so he's got to quote me on individual boxes. Then if he can send a dozen in a box, so if you need a dozen, then do those dozen go in a larger box for the whole order? And they're still working on that, so I haven't got the final quote yet. And what I've left for the trade show.
The individual ones you should be able to take out of a box. All right, so let's say he ships them and they're all 12 in a box, Russell. Okay. All right. So you've got, a box that, you've had somebody now who's ordered from you on Etsy or wherever, and they ordered one. You open a box, you put one of them into a padded envelope and you ship it. They don't need to be in an individual box.
Oh, so I don't need an individual box from Jeff.
No. If they've already ordered it from you on Etsy, they don't care if it's wrapped in toilet paper. They've already paid for it.
Right.
All right, send it. And so all you need to do is put it in a padded envelope. It doesn't need to be in a box. The ones that are in the box are the ones that if a store orders a box, they want what they refer to as a case or, something like that. You say, yes, a case is 12, a case is 15 or whatever fits into one of the size boxes they have. All right. And then you're shipping that to a store.
So I need to tell Jeff, skip the individual boxes altogether.
Yep. You're the owner. You can open a box and take one out and put it into an envelope and send it.
Yeah. And so you're going to want 12. And so I got to just see what the final order is. And otherwise I can pay you, to rep it with, Cindy and Wendy and all that. I'm still seeing what I have left after I pay for these things.
All right. That sounds good. So Hillary, join us. Tell us how you are.
I'm doing good. Thanks for,
Hi.
yeah, I'm doing good. I had a good result with Sean from Fortune Mold in China. He's very good. He's very fast. I can't remember his last name, but he's on LinkedIn. He advertises on LinkedIn every now and then. You can see his elaborate, molds that he makes and stuff. But yeah, I highly recommend him. He's very nice. But he'll keep bugging you. He'll want more sales. He'll say, when are you going to send your next order, your next project? Well, let me sell them first.
Yeah.
But
So well, it's always good when you got people that keep you on your toes and keep going. So Hillary was just on the radio with us last week. I think Dave was on recently. So and I did order that Goldilocks for my sister for Christmas. So thank you very much.
thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it went out today. I got the mail all sent out. And yeah, I was I'm just listening to everybody's dilemmas and 3D printing your prototypes is a very good option. Don't go molds first is definitely a plan because you can always make the mold smaller, but you can't make, or I think it's like that. It depends on because it's all reversed. If you make a mistake, you can't make it, you can't cut it out smaller. It'll only get bigger, the way they cut them. It's kind of hard to describe, but yeah, you just don't want to make a mistake on a mold because changes aren't very easy.
No, they're not. And a lot of times the price point that you get back is a few $1,000s or several $1,000s. So
Right.
it can be tough. So going through the phases of the prototyping is really critical. And I know, we've had some of our guys get frustrated with the phases. And, so I'll get these phone calls. It's like, it's not right. It's not right. And it's like, take a deep breath because, they cannot read your mind. So one step at a time and, we get it done. It's like, oh yeah, that's really cool now. 3 stages later, it's like, yeah, you got to do it. It's like, Dave trying to do, 12 different versions of his prototype to get it right. And it's like, then somebody says, oh, it'd be really cool if you wanted like this, or, the materials you're ordering aren't quite right. And it's like, oh, shoot, got to start all over on that. So it's, kind of the inventor's nightmare as far as getting through the different phases. But it's, we're excited about, I just signed the contract today for the ASD Market Week. And so instead of having 600 square feet, we've got 800 square feet right by the concession stand. So we are excited about, broadening our scope of products that we've had at the show before, to include everything from fashion and baby products down to, the coolest hammer and lubricating devices, David, and, pet products and, sporting goods and everything that, we couldn't include before, but now we can. And so that's really good. It'll be interesting to have the 800 square feet. We've been 600 before. We'll be doing radio right from the show. So that we're looking forward to that as well. And everybody's got to go to the concession stand in the restroom. So it's a good place to be.
That's good. Oh, I had a question. I've been on Range Me before, and I keep getting these emails from Teresa saying that they have like hair people that are looking for my product, but or interviewing product owners, whatever, for potential business. But the thing is, her little thing on Range Me, they want you to do this ECRM with and then the fee is like $5,000 just to talk to these people. It's crazy.
Yeah. I know. And, I get a ton of those because people don't realize, you know, they assume that I have a product as opposed to being the licensing agent for, you know, so many inventors. And so, you know, when I look at sometimes their price points, it's like, are you kidding me?
Mhm.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And that's, you know, that's why so many inventors, you know, you get teed up and then you say, all right, let me hand this off because, you know, I'm not, a good invention is like a child. You conceive it, you nurture it, it sucks you dry, you throw it out. And it's not until it moves out that it's going to grow up and be big and take care of you. And so for a lot of inventors, they kind of go through that and they get to the point, it's like, oh my God, shoot me now. I've got to get rid of this. And so we're able to get it out there and license it. And then the licensee deals with all of the issues that make us crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I fully agree about the marketing. They, you know, I hired marketers for the technical skills and content, and they can't do either.
I know.
They
In
can't.
our early stages, I had people doing that and then send me this invoice and it's like, what is this for? You didn't do anything except tell me what to do. It's like, I already knew what to do. I needed somebody to do it.
Right. And it's waste like 3 months of your time because you're sitting back trying to wait for them to get all logged in and do all their things, and you give them all these rights, and then they mess up your Facebook, and then oh, I didn't do it. What do you mean you didn't do it? It was right here. This is your little thing, and now I'm blanked out of Facebook. I can't advertise now. I got to recertify.
Yep. No, I hear you. Been there, suffered through it. And, you know, that was when I did find Mike by mistake. I'd known his wife actually before she was married to him. And she came over to help my realtor when I was getting ready to leave Colorado. And she said, oh, my husband does this. And I said, oh my God, this is like a God moment, you know, send me his name. And she introduced us and he's been working for me ever since. And, you know, and the big thing was he does it. You know, he said, send me the text you want. And he goes out and posts it. And then one of the inventors that went with us to the show last year, he brought his sister to help him because she did all of his social media. And now she works for Mike Green because she met him there. So, you know, the two of them, and she does a lot of work for us too, as well. When I see the invoices, I know where, you know, where she's plugged in and doing stuff, but they've made a huge difference in our business because they do it, you know, and I would always put, you know, social media at the top of my to-do list. And by the time I went to have a glass of wine, it's like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And I would never get it done, but now I pay somebody to do it and it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, really what I'm doing now as far as I'm just getting user generated content. That's basically how I'm going to be doing my marketing. It's much better than hiring you got to get your own content. You got to figure out how to post it and do A/B testing and whatever. But yeah, it's a can of worms every time you this, that, and the other to look into and try to troubleshoot.
Yep. Dave?
No, nobody's made any mention of influencers on any of these networks. Have you had any experience with them?
Yeah, I've had influencers. I got one on YouTube. Her name's Catherine Sewing, and she taught like a sewing YouTube channel plus Victorian hair and all that stuff. How she grew her hair, and she's mentioned my product because it's a protective hair holding product. It doesn't just hold your hair, it protects your hair because a lot of things when you take it out, it'll rip your hair out. Mine is protected. It won't rip your hair out when you take it out, and it doesn't hurt while you're wearing it.
So did you seek her out, or did she just happen to find your product?
Well, actually, I emailed her. I said, would you be willing to do a little show about my product? And I said, I'll send you some free samples. She said, sure. And I told her, I said, I'd like to see if you can do like a full sock cover over my product, you know, just to see if you can sew something over it, you know, make your own content. But she did her show, and yeah, and that first month and a half when her show was hot, I was busier than a one-legged kickboxer. I was like turning screws out over. She had like 70,000 followers. And you know, as the the algorithm changes, you got to keep that flow, and you got to keep more content going out there that's reaching more people. So it's doing pretty good, and I just gotta, I got one just recently. She did a nice little show on my product, so she's on Instagram instead of YouTube. So I'm just hitting where I can get them.
Yeah, if you can, if you can find one that's in the right industry for you, and is willing to put you out there, that's certainly better than randomly hiring the market team. Because the one thing I've learned over the 15 years is that the marketing team just sees you as billable time, and so you just have to be really, really careful. It's like hiring a business consultant.
Right.
Most business consultants these days are out of work middle management. Don't go there.
Right. Yeah. And anyone can say they're a marketer. They just go out there and say, "Oh, market it. I can guarantee you 3 times your 10 times your sales," and then they don't know the first thing about anything.
Go to your local high school and get one of the kids from high school. That'd probably be better than anybody you could hire.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I had three different people try to do marketing for me before I found Mike. And that made a big difference. And his rates were so much better than anybody else, and he actually did the work. Once he started really learning the business, I didn't even have to provide him content anymore. There were times he would shoot me over something and say, we're changing things up a little bit. Are you okay with this? But otherwise, he could rewrite something that I had written and provided to him, and he would stay on me. It's like, all right, I need your next blog. I need your next topics, and he does all of our radio stuff and all of our show stuff and postings. But he does it, which is really good. I don't need him to tell me what to do. I just need him to do
Is he
it.
doing the website too, or is that somebody else?
No, he does a lot of the website too. And so where you were looking at things, we had to put, I think most of we had a real upheaval in October when we decided not to go to the National Hardware Show because of bad politics. And so we had to put a hold on the website. We had to put a hold on everything. So now that we've got the new contract signed and we pretty much told the National Hardware Show, it's like, we're not going to play your politics. Move on. That now he was in there today working on the site and getting things cleaned up. But the 2023 show has all of the old, and that one will stay. It's the new show, the 2024 with ASD Market Week, that will move to Invent America site.
So can I use the Invent America site if I'm just, pitching my, my products and invention instead of the National Hardware Show?
Correct. Don't use National Hardware Show anymore.
And instead of Inventor Lady, see, because Inventor Lady now has a National Hardware Show, so it's kind of getting me confused. So
No.
Use, what should I use for a link to refer someone to look at my invention?
You're going to give us a couple of weeks to start getting everything posted. All right. The show is listed, but we haven't started posting any products yet. So that'll be, probably the 1st of January, because we're into, holidays. And so
right.
We'll be working on doing some of that behind the scenes stuff so that things will be posted. But you'll do the Invent America site, and then on the Invent America site, the new show will be listed ASD Market Week.
All right. ASD. What does ASD stand for?
Affordable shopping ASD. Affordable shopping. I don't know. I'll think about it about 2:30. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
It's affordable shopping.
Distributor?
No, that's not quite right. We had it at once. It didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I didn't have anything cute that I could remember it by. So affordable shopping something. And
okay.
So anyway, my big thing is it's 3 times larger than the National Hardware Show, and it covers all consumer categories. And so it just made sense to move.
Rita, you said that was in Vegas, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's March 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's 4 days. This is a huge show because they've got pre-buyers coming in on Saturday. So it's actually a 5-day show. We will be setting up predominantly on Friday before the show, and then we will be finishing our setup on Saturday, but there'll actually be buyers in shopping on Saturday that have a private invitation. And the show goes like from 9 to 6 every day. So it's a huge show. So any other questions or comments from anybody?
I got one question. I'm thinking about going, but I'm not sure if I can take all of those days off. That's the problem.
Well, and you don't have to. I mean, the most important days are going to be Sunday and Monday.
Oh, okay.
All right. And I've got staff that I take with me. So for the inventors who can't be there at all or can't be there for part of the time, I've got staff that takes care of everything.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, because those long weeks, and I'm the only machinist at my shop. Jacked up like
I understand. Well, and the other option is that if you've got somebody that wants to go with you and then can stay, that's also an option.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll get inventors that will come with 2 or 3, people on their team. And sometimes, they can all stay and sometimes only one can stay. And sometimes none of them stay and then staff takes over. And that's why I take staff.
That's awesome. Thanks.
So Andrea.
Affordable shopping destination.
There you go. Thank you. I knew it was somewhere in an email I'd sent it. So yes, there you go. Thank you. On my own, I would never come up with destination, but
I just Googled it.
there you go. There you go. So if you've got, if you want any more information about the show, I've got some different newsletters that I'm sending out about it. So just, shoot me an email. I'll send you some details. I think, most of you are included in that, but there's a few of you who aren't yet. And so just send me the, make sure you get it, shoot me an email and just say, send me the information. And, because, it's counting down now. I mean, it's down and dirty. We will start posting everything. We've already started talking about it on the radio, but we'll start really pushing that out. They're going to do some advertising on the radio with us. So we're excited about that. And so it will be, it's always a lot of fun. I get in there and say, oh my God, it was so much fun to go and not have to be by myself. We will have right around 40 inventors there, just out of our space.
Wow. That's great.
So, all right, everybody, have a very Merry Christmas. And I will be talking to probably all of you at some point before the holiday season. So shoot me over your questions if you've got any contacts. If you wanted information from someone tonight, and you don't have their contact information, shoot it to me. I'll put you in touch with each other. Not a problem. Anybody else have a question, comment before we break off for the evening? All right, guys, have a wonderful Christmas. I'm going to go to a little bit of last minute Christmas shopping, and I will talk to all of you later.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Christmas.
Okay.